Well, joining us now is the IEC's Mamabolo. In fact, he is the CEO. Mr. Mamabolo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
No, thank you very much for the opportunity, and greetings to all the viewers.
Fantastic. Now, Mr. Mamabolo, obviously a nail-biting time for both political parties as the deadline has been extended, both political parties and those that have obviously registered who are independent. Now, talk to us about how we are doing as it pertains to numbers. How many of the 97 political parties and over, I think, 26,000 independent candidates who've registered on the voters' roll have made submissions, and what the submissions entail exactly?
Well, as of this morning, we had 26,000 candidates captured. And there's been steady improvement throughout the day. In fact, by midday today, we had improved that number to 37,000 candidates, of which 353 are independent candidates. So it does say to us that there's great interest, despite the uncertainty that you spoke about. There remains a great interest. People are wishing to participate.
I think we've lost Mr. Mamabolo. Very unfortunate there. We'll see if we can try and get him on the line. Mr. Mamabolo, can you hear me now?
Certainly, I can hear you.
All right. Please continue, sir.
So I was saying that people remain interested in our electoral democratic project to the extent that we have these numbers who are willing to be part of the leadership within our municipalities. Our expectation is that we would, by the end of the day, have between 60 to 70,000 candidates who will be vying for positions, 10,000 positions within municipal councils in the country.
Now, you've extended the deadline from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., obviously being very mindful of sensitivities around the timing and who actually needs to submit. Talk to me about what political parties need to submit. I mean, you've made it clear that they need to be very compliant, or else, you will not be accepting you won't be accepting non-compliance. What are they expected to then submit by 9 p.m. tonight?
It is the names of candidates, and if you're using an online system, even better, because technology offers us simplicity. So you capture the name, and if the system will give you an indication whether the person is registered in the municipality in which they want to contest. And beyond that, they need to sign an acceptance of nomination, and deposits must be paid. 3,500 for a metro, 2,000 rands for a local council, 1,000 rands for a district council, and 1,000 rands for a ward. So those must be paid in by 9 p.m. This evening.
Now, we're very mindful that there is a legal process that is currently on the go with the Constitutional Court as it relates to will the elections be postponed to February next year or not. So what happens in the event that a party or a candidate does not meet the deadline and also you do not succeed in your Concourt process?
Well, insofar as the elections of the 27th of November go, today is the deadline. It's immutable. We are unable to move the date beyond 9 o'clock this evening. So anyone who misses the cut at 9, and if an election is to proceed on the 27th, it will mean their candidature cannot be accepted. However, in the event that we are successful in the Constitutional Court, then a new election timetable would have to be published, and it will provide for new cutoff dates for several electoral activities, including the cutoff date for the nomination of candidates, which means the nomination process will remain open until that new cutoff date.
Well, if I can use the American phrase, the jury is still out if, in fact, we will be having elections, this year in October, or if the Concord will grant you that extension for them to be held next year in February. Talk to me about where things stand as that process is ongoing at the moment. I mean, one of the things that came out prominently from some experts is that this process could also have gone the legislative route as opposed to being a burden to the courts, as it were.
Yeah, but I think that it's a mischaracterization of our application. We're not asking for the term of municipal councils to be extended beyond 5 years in perpetuity, requiring a constitutional amendment. That's not the case we're making. We are dealing with once in a century occurrence, an exceptional situation wherein certain three constitutional imperatives can't coexist at the same time. In other instances, those constitutional imperatives have coexisted with no difficulty. But in the prevailing circumstances, there are tensions. One is that any election must be held within a particular time frame, and that time frame, the outer date of which is the 1st of November. Secondly, that election has to be free and fair. And thirdly, it's an election that must recognize and preserve the safety of all South Africans, as well as their psychological and bodily integrity. So we need a solution that deals with this as a once-off thing. Amending the Constitution, you'll be elongating the term of office in perpetuity. And that's not the case. The case is that we have an exceptional situation, once in a century type of thing, which require imagination and creativity for us to be able to offer people a regular, free, and fair election, as well as a safe election.
Talking about creativity, should again the court not grant your process or your application, and we have to have the elections in October, one of your biggest concerns was the fact that South Africa was earmarked to be in this fourth wave of COVID-19 by October or November. Now that's moved up to around December. What are some of the measures that you have taken in a situation that the elections are held in October? Are you all systems go in terms of, just using best practice or some of the plans that you have in place in terms of making sure that people have or exercise the constitutional right to vote, but also doing it in a safe environment where they cannot, if it were, contract COVID-19?
Yes, indeed, we do have a protocol for elections, voting station operations within the COVID context. And it provides some of the following elements: that our staff will be provided PPE, members of the voting public would have to observe social distancing in the queues, they'd have to sanitize before they enter the voting station. They have to bring their own pen, although we will provide pens, but we recommend that people to bring their own pens. Furthermore, where the configuration of the voting facility is small, we've agreed with political parties that instead of having 2 party agents per party, we would have 1, and then they'll rotate throughout the day, giving everybody sufficient opportunity to observe the voting process. There are other measures, additional measures that are still under consideration, such as extending the number of days for special votes so that people don't all have to queue on voting day, but rather you have enough opportunity for them to spread over several days of special voting.
All right, Mr. Mamabolo, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.